You don't have to go to a movie theater to play a video game. You can. I've done it. It's fucking awesome.
Hello and welcome back. We're back to the Part-Time Gamers, the gaming podcast for people with full-time lives. I'm Cyranex, clocking in with my good friend, That One Weirdo.
You know, 20 years ago, somebody told me that the world was going bananas and the only thing holding it together was a Taylor Swift album release. I would think they were insane.
Yeah, my go-to for things being held together is duct tape, paperclip, and hope. That's
you
basically.
Sure you weren't in
the... Yeah, that sounds.
That's how we.
Yeah. Oh man, it's been so for people listening in. We took a little bit of a break during the summer. Part of it was to just I wanted to run a little bit of an experiment, which we do plan on continuing with our official first season of the Part-Time Adventurers. But yeah, me and Ember went through a campaign of Wildermyth, calling it Season 0 of Part-Time Adventurers. Went really well. Thought it was really fun to do that, and we are planning on continuing on that. So yeah, our first season is going to have Jess and Sonia from the Opinionated Lushes podcast. They're going to be our guests for season 1 of the Part-Time Adventurers. So we're going to do that, starting that up. But we're back to doing just the regular show. Keep on going. Yeah, it is. It's been a bit, and trying to get life situated.
Isn't it weird though? Because like my girlfriend, and she knew that I tried to connect like the gaming stuff. I was there once, and I might have, sent some stuff through YouTube or whatever. But she was like, I told her, I was like, yeah, we're back to Part-Time Gamers, and she was like, and I don't know if she knew the circumstances, like with the game and then going to this and trying that experiment, because she goes, oh, they let you back in? I'm like, wait. I'm like, who you been talking to? What do you mean? I said, that's not really how it went.
Yeah.
I said, Jeff didn't put out my torch and told me to get off the island. It wasn't.
No, everyone's still here. We just all took a break for a little bit from this show at least.
Well, it took me forever to find a new job, and I finally did, and it is a job. It is very much a case of, I show up.
Honestly, that's all that I could expect.
It's in this day and age, why not? I used to think myself better. And I know that sounds kind of conceited, but you spend so much time. I spent a lot of time in one career. And the one thing they boast when you retire out of the military is you get your second career. You get your second win, like Billy Joel says. But everybody's military career is different. Like when people ask me, like I was in the Air Force. Do you know how many times I get asked that I flew jets?
Yeah, probably a lot.
I said, no, I was in an airplane when people tried to shoot at me. And they were like, oh God, what did you do? I said, I scolded them. I said, stop it. They said, did you? Like, no, I fired back. That was our game. You first, now me. Yeah. But I've come to a conclusion that it's not so cut and dry. And a lot of people take that away from the military, where it's like, okay, I've left. The government paid me for this long to such and such, all this training, X amount of dollars. But now we're kind of in such an age to where there is no certainty. I don't know if there really ever was. Boy, I think the only thing that's certain right now is that my girlfriend is watching K-pop Demon Hunters on Netflix. That's about it.
Yeah.
And I'll take that.
Yeah.
The movie's okay, but the song's better.
Yeah. Just job stuff.
I got a job. Job's okay. Lather, rinse, repeat.
I mean, and I think that's a weird expectation that people have. Like it's something very American centric. Like you go anywhere else in the world and you ask them, so like, so what do you do? And they'll start describing their hobbies, what what kind of things they like to do. Like the idea of defining yourself by your job is a very American thing. And it's like
Yes.
I like have to catch myself sometimes because a lot of times I'll like start a conversation with someone. It's like, yeah, so what do you do for a living? It's like one of the first two questions that anyone ever asks, and it's
And,
like,
and,
yeah, go ahead.
and that odd association, excuse me. And I know what they mean, and it's a very almost kind of old timey phrase. What you do for a living. Now, I know what they mean when they say that, but the phraseology for me feels weird because it's like what you do for a living. As in, and we know a lot of people work tireless. I mean, I've worked jobs where I've worked crazy hours, and it is a little almost disheartening when you think of the way the phrase is kind of set up because it's like, well, what do you do for a living? Because it's almost like, well, you have to do this. You're defined by your job. In the military,
Yeah,
like that's almost automatic. But in the real world, in the outside world, that really shouldn't be the case. And yes,
yeah,
people ask hobbies and stuff, but the connotation is always like, what do you do to make money for your family before you die?
yeah. As,
It's very just sport where it's like,
yeah,
oh, that's it.
and to me, it's just weird. Um, it's just weird question to ask because like I don't define myself by my job. It's a
Right.
thing I do to get money. That's literally the full extent of what I care about this job for. It's not a career. Like literally in the last since I've gotten married, which was 12 years ago, I have had over 10 jobs.
Right.
It's like I think since I graduated high school, I've probably had close to 30 jobs.
Yeah.
Some some of them, like my very first job was a bagger at a Myers, and that lasted 5 weeks. Because an application that I had sent before I started working there finally called back, and it was like, it pays better, it's a better job. See ya. Oh, and it's just so like trying to define myself by like, oh, right now I'm a machine operator,
Right.
and that has absolutely no bearing to me in my mind. It's like this is just how I make money. That's it. That's literally the extent of it. If I find a
Yeah.
job that I like, or that I, let me rephrase that. If I like a job, another job that I don't hate and it pays better,
Right.
I'll probably go to that. If as long as the people I work with, like I'm more concerned about the people I work with and work under than the actual job most of the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because the job's the easy part. You
yeah.
in 9 out of 10 times, or most cases, the job itself, like this new job is pest control. I've done that. I did it in the military. It's pretty lather, rinse, repeat for the most part. But this is residential, not commercial.
Mm.
So of course, with people's homes, it's very, some people are very careful with their homes, and that's understandable. And then I'm not going to get too far into it, but I went into what home, and I thought I was back in a cell in Bagram.
Oh, jeez.
Like, oh, oh, I walked out of there, and the person training me, quote unquote, she was like, "You're just filling a seat. You know how to do this." I walked out of there, and it took me a couple minutes. I was like, she's like, "Rep." I'm like, "Uh huh." She goes, "You want me to go?" I said, "No." I said, "If the guy wants to like that, that's on him." I said, we're the consultants, no more, no less." But I think the ideal of career is more than just, I think it should always have been more than one thing. A
Yeah.
lot of people, and I think, it's more of that type of thinking where you do that and only that, and you excel in that, and that's what you do for 40 years. But now through technology and just people seeing certain things in life, it's like, well, Does it have to be this? Does it have to be that?
Yeah.
I mean, even like actors and stuff, like they do other side gigs and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I'm not just this. And I think that's okay too, but you and I both know the ideal for a lot of people is, and another way people put it too, real quick, is, well, what do you do? And that translates to, what do you do for a living? And it's like, what do you
Yeah.
mean, what do I do? I do a lot of things. You want me to suss down one thing?
Yeah.
I do a lot of things.
Yeah. But
Some of
one
which I probably shouldn't have done, but I did it anyway.
one last thing, one last story that reminded me of before we move on. That reminded me of the story that I heard. This like young kid just out of high school, I think, was going for a job interview at like McDonald's or something like that, and typical first job type stuff. And the manager says like, yeah, everything looks good. We're willing to hire you. And the kid just starts bawling, and the interviewer's like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I just told you that you got the job. And this kid, his parents only had one job their entire life. They were there for like 40 years. So he was under the impression of whatever job he got first, that was just the job he had for the rest of his life.
Yes.
And he says this to the interviewer, just like the idea of just changing jobs was completely foreign to him.
Yes.
So it's like, that's weird to me. Obviously, since
Yeah.
I've had like 30 different jobs in a bunch of different industries, it's like, for me, the job of staying in one place for 40 years, that's the insane thing.
Yes.
And this is coming
Hawaii
from,
still, and a
yeah,
lot of places here in Utah still function like that. And then there's a measure to the opposite where they go, well, I've been here 10 years. Why does your resume look like this? And it's like, because I'm not you. And I hate to crack on Utah, but it's a lot of the people, how they are here. And they're like, oh, so this is how you are here. I'm like, buddy, I'm originally from Hawaii. And I spent well over 20 years going to other parts of the world. I said, the only reason why I ended up in Utah is because I didn't get Italy. And I had to make peace. Olive Garden exists, and that was supposed to be enough, and it's not.
I used to work at Olive Gardens. Anyways, I think it's about time we get to work.
Yes.
Morning break is over.
What?
Morning break is over.
All right. Just to remind everyone, we are a gaming podcast, so we are getting to the games. So this month, it's October, favorite month of the year. Other than, well, the middle of April is also my favorite part of the year because that's my birthday. But other than that, October is my favorite month of the year, and we're going to be talking about co-op horror games, which is something that I'm just going to, I guess, announce it now. My plan, at least, is that I'm going to be playing one of these co-op horror games, specifically the one we're going to be talking about at the end of the month. I'm going to be playing it in VR on Halloween night. And we'll probably have to have an extra pair of shorts available while I play it. Because if anyone remembers, I played Phasmophobia last year for Halloween, and I still have that clip of the ghost basically walking into my face in VR, and it scared the ever-loving crap out of me. And
Beautiful.
we're going to be doing Devour this year, which is arguably even worse. Because not only is
Not available.
yeah, not only are the scares directly in your face in VR, they're also very loud and very sudden. So yeah, we're going to be doing that at the end of the month during Halloween. But other than that, I love October, the whole theme of it, and just the weather dying down and everything too. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about a game called The Headliners. It's developed and published by Kafi, Kafi. Is normally $7.99 on Steam. Until tomorrow, it is $5.99 because of the autumn sale. But even full price $7.99, only $2 extra. It's still really well priced game. It is available on Windows via Steam. So this game is when I originally saw this game, it was actually a Markiplier video he did like 6 months ago, where him and Wade and why can't I remember his other name? Oh, I don't remember. Where him and two of his friends played through it, a couple of the levels and everything, and it's a really interesting game. Apparently, since then has gone through some very big changes. So, like for one thing, it is when it originally came out, it was for 4 players. Now you can play up to 8 players without mods or anything. Just built in, can play up to 8 players, which is great. The whole theme of this game is players are controlling journalists who are venturing into these quarantined zones, these different cities and everything that are being invaded by monsters and aliens and just otherwise being destroyed. And it is just kind of terrifying, and it's simultaneously terrifying and kind of cartoony because the design of the characters is very stylized, very kind of cartoony, but the actual gameplay can get kind of graphic. You get like seeing people's limbs getting ripped off or blown off. Like your character's limbs can get ripped off or blown off. It gets kind of gross at times, but also like it's somewhat cartoony the way the characters are designed. Like it is a game that has proximity voice, so it also makes it so it has one of those features where when you talk, the mouth of the character moves too. It's not precise, but it moves, which is kind of interesting. I kind of like that style of game where it's like you can actually see who's talking, where they're when they're talking and everything. But yeah, you're journalists going into these quarantine zones are being invaded by monsters and everything. And your mission is to, like, unlike a lot of, or at least some other horror games, you're not trying to fight the monsters at all. In fact, I don't think you can even get, well, you can get like mines and stuff like that and traps, but you can't get any like guns or anything like that. You don't really, your goal isn't to fight the monsters. Your goal is to just capture pictures of them for the headlines. Like, you're the ones who are going into these zones and you're trying to inform the world of what's going on, basically, inside these quarantine zones. But yeah, your mission is to capture photos. Each photo that you capture has a monetary value to it, and your goal is to you have an objective goal amount that you're trying to reach or exceed. So that's not the rotation, that's the basic, like, your goal is to try to exceed this objective goal based on the value of your photos. Everyone starts off at the headquarters, just kind of going from step one to step by step. You start at your headquarters, you can prepare for your mission there, which involves you start off with a basic camera and a flashlight. I believe the flashlight has 3 minutes. It can be used for 3 minutes. And you get a very basic camera that has no zoom, flash, or anything like that, and has 10 pictures available. You can get those for free. But there is a store also that has 4 randomly generated cameras, as well as a bunch of other equipment that you can purchase to augment your character and all kinds of stuff. The cameras have 4 different components. This is actually one of the new elements that they've recently added in their one of their big updates. Is before they just had 4 levels of cameras. They just had like basic, pro, zoom, and I think one that had an extra more capacity or something like that. Now they've broken the cameras into 4 different components. So you have quality, which increases the value of the photos you take with it. You have capacity, self-explanatory, zoom, and flash. And the cameras have different, it has different like grades of each of those categories. So like a 4-star camera, a camera with 4-star capacity has 20 pictures, where if it has only 1, it has 10 pictures. So, and it's like the zoom quality and all that kind of stuff. it's all randomly generated. Oh, which kind of gives it a little bit extra element because that means that there's like 128 different possible cameras you can get. Oh, and the thing is, if you're good and you actually stay alive during your missions, and you're able to bring that camera back, you can keep using that same camera. But if you die, you lose it. And it's like if it's left out in the field, it's just gone. You have to start over again. So that is a new element that they've added in a recent update. They also have a bunch of equipment that you can buy, like body armor, like you can buy helmets and stuff like that, which give you armor that goes over your health. Like you normally have 100 health. If you buy the like military grade helmet, that gives you 50 armor. That goes above and beyond your health. Protects you, obviously, like body armor would do. You have boots that increase your stamina and your run speed. You have backpacks that increase the amount of equipment you can hold. Like I think the small backpack gives you 2 extra equipment slots. The big backpack gives you 3 extra equipment slots. Normally you can only hold 4. So normally you can only have 4 equipment slots. So that helps you carry more stuff. Like med packs, flares, mines, bear traps, all that kind of stuff.
The usual.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just going into an alien invaded war zone, let's throw some mines out and everything.
21, easy.
Yeah. But so yeah, you have all of this equipment that can help you out. Now once you get all your gear together, like one major thing is you can only carry one camera. Like you can only, when you start off at least, you can only hold one camera. So you can't carry multiple cameras and like have multiple photos because of that. So you have to, it does make it so it's like, okay, I don't really care much about zoom. I want to make sure I have the capacity. So it really opens that randomness. I was like, okay, I really want to have this camera. If I find a camera that has good capacity or whatever you're looking for. Otherwise you're just going to be doing the regular cameras. Once you get everything that you need for the mission, once you're done preparing, you go over to the helicopter. That takes you to a randomized zone, which when this game originally came out, the zones were all New York based. So it was like Times Square was one of the locations. I think Central Park is one of the locations. Liberty Island is one of the locations. But they have recently, I believe they have opened it up to new locations. Like one of them is in front of the White House. I think they had a preview for one that takes place in Paris. So it is, even though it originally started as New York, they are expanding the different locations out to different places all over the world now, which is going to be interesting to see like what other cities they decide to just invade with these monsters, right, and so on and so forth. But it is really interesting because it like you can tell just like as soon as you come off the helicopter, you look around and it's like it looks like Times Square. I mean, they actually did a really good job modeling these areas to make it recognizable, which is nice. Once you get into these locations, your goal is to you have 10 minutes to take all your photos, up to 10 minutes, I should say, to get all the photos you need and everything like that, and get back to the helicopter. So if you fail to get back to the helicopter, it basically counts as you died. It's like your photos aren't recovered. They're just gone. So it is very important to get back to the helicopter in time. And there is an element, actually, I'll get to that in a second, but yeah, get back to the helicopter in time. That's important if you want your stuff to get accounted for. But in addition to these outdoor locations, there are actually indoor locations as well, that are denoted by bright green colored doors. In fact, one of the things it tells you, I believe, when you're about to go onto the the helicopter is like green doors go in or something like that. Just to indicate it's like, hey, this is where you get into the indoor locations at these places. And those are all completely randomly generated. Location, everything is just randomly generated once you go into the indoor locations, which gives that little bit of gives that replayability to it. Because I'm pretty sure the outdoor locations are all the same regardless, but the indoor locations are all random. So it adds that replay value. And a very important element is the value of the photos that you take. So originally they had kind of an arbitrary score for your photos, but they have now since made it so that you can actually directly see a monetary value from your photos. And that's what determines if you fail or succeed at your goal. So the elements that are involved for like some of the elements, the value is determined by the elements of the photo themselves. So for example, like taking a picture of one of the creatures, or taking a picture of a corpse, or taking a picture of like an alien egg sac that's on the wall or something like that. All of these different things help add to the value of the photo. So you have these individual elements as well, but there's also kind of categories that add multipliers to the value of the photos as well. Some things like gore. So it's like taking a picture of another journalist that has arm blown off. That counts. The element would be the journalist himself, but it would also be in the category of gore. Like there's action, there's battle, there's like the one that gives the highest multiplier is Darwin Award.
Yes.
Where it's like, I'm assuming that how you get that is you somehow take a picture like doing something ridiculously dangerous immediately before you die, and someone else recovers the picture. I'm assuming that's how you get it. Because there's stuff in this game that will just outright immediately kill you.
Yes.
And it's like very dangerous stuff. But so that's kind of what determines the value of the pictures is the elements in there. Like you can do a selfie cam as well, so you can get yourself in the picture and have things in the background. Sometimes that helps. Taking pictures of someone, like there's NPCs that are just running around, like other survivors and everything are just running around the area. Taking a picture of a survivor getting eaten by another monster, that'll give you a lot of points. Because it's like, okay, you got the gore element, you got the outworld element from the monster, you got all these different elements and everything. So it's really a lot of it is just trying to figure out, it's like, okay, how can I put as many of these elements together into one photo? That helps out a lot trying to figure that out. So that's kind of where you get the value on these photos. Now another thing that like I mentioned is if a player is killed, like because you can outright die. There's monsters in there that are like, one of them is called the Velasa alien, which is basically like, have you seen like the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't have held it against you if you hadn't watched it, but for the sake of argument, like basically like the Velasa alien is basically a slightly smaller version of that kind of Godzilla, and not by much smaller, but like we're still talking like this thing is like 30 feet tall, hunched over, and it's just walking down the street. It's like kicking cars out of the way and everything. That is like, if you get too close to it, it will eat you and just immediately kill you. Like they have like Bigfoot. They recently added Bigfoot into this game. It'll just like rush at you, grab you, and drag you across the map, slamming you into the ground. You have this giant like 200-foot tall alien that they just call Slender. And he will, if you get too close, he will literally just stomp you to death. There is a myriad of ways that you can just get horribly murderized. So making sure that someone survives and picks up your camera is very important.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you survive, as long as your
Yeah, you
camera
don't-
survives.
The camera, that's the biggie here.
Yeah. Because, the camera is, if your camera is not recovered, then none of the photos are counted for. So all the points, all the money you have gotten from that are gone. So it is very important to pick up that camera to get the points for it. So it's again, you're not as important as your film. But
Such is life.
yeah. So once you get out of the get all everyone back onto the helicopter and are able to escape, if the players succeed at the objective, the photo that is worth the most, has the highest value, is front page picture on the newspapers you put on the wall. There's like blank plaques along the wall, and those kind of determines like, okay, there's actually like 12 levels, or 12 levels that you can get up to. And it's denoted by the front pages on the wall. The picture that has the highest value is put on the front page, put up on the wall, and a new headline, quote unquote, which is basically a new objective amount and a slightly higher difficulty, are given to you. So if the players fail, though, this is where I think one thing that kind of actually sets this game apart from a lot of other games, because from a lot of what I'm describing, this game is very, very much like Lethal Company. You're going to a dangerous location, you're going into an indoor location at that location. I'm trying to figure out how not to keep saying location all the time. Yes, the boarding paperwork has a will on it. But it's very much like Lethal Company. You're going into these locations, going in an indoor location, trying to get something of value to bring back. The things that I think kind of set this apart from Lethal Company is, I think this actually, I don't know what the time frame is on Lethal Company. It might be 10 minutes. I don't know. It just feels like this one is faster. You have less time to do what you need to do. And the other thing is, like, you're not taking anything physical from the location, and you're not taking anything really back with you. You're just you're taking the pictures, which it's interesting because in Lethal Company, you can only hold a certain number of objects and everything like that. And like some objects you can't put into a pack, you have to hold in your hands and everything like that. I still think it's ridiculous how much visual space toilet paper takes up when you hold it in Lethal Company. Like, you literally cannot see any, like, why do you have to hold the toilet paper directly in front of your face? But this is because you can effectively carry a lot. Even the basic camera that you get can hold 10 photos. And you can look at the photos that you've taken. You can delete ones that aren't as valuable, or there are duplicates, because they do factor in duplicates into this. So you can delete duplicates or photos that aren't very valuable and try to get better value out of the resource you have. But one of the other elements I think is really good that sets us apart from games like Lethal Company is, even if you fail the objective, you lose one of your press passes, and you attempt the objective again. And players can have a maximum of 3 pet. Yeah.
The Human Torch was denied
Yeah.
a bank loan.
Yeah. Trying to pull the words out of my mouth. The players can have a maximum of 3 press press passes. Why did I press passes? Anyways,
Welcome.
yeah. Welcome to wording.
Love it.
Yeah. And so if you fail an objective, you lose one of those 3 press passes. But you can buy more of them from the store. But the cost of those new ones that you buy in the store is half of the current objective. So if your objective is to try to get $3,000 worth of value from your photos, you fail and you want to get a new press pass, sad find there. Why not the other 6 times?
There you go.
It would cost you $1,500 to get a new pass. But if it's later on in the game, it's like, oh, you're getting up to like a $12,000 value, then it's going to be $6,000 to get a new press pass. So there are ways of continuing the game on, even if there is failure. And the thing is, like, regardless of success or failure, whatever value you got from the photos that were accounted for, that goes into your bank. So even if you fail the objective, say your objective is, $4,000 and you get $3,975, you still failed the objective, but you still get that $3,975 in your bank to get better equipment or to get, buy that press pass again. So it's like, as long as you're able to get even like half the value out of a single night, you can continue going on because you can still get another press pass from the store and can keep on going. So it almost has a little bit of I think it's a little bit more forgiving that way than games like Lethal Company. Oh, but it's forgiving in one sense, but not so much in another sense, because in Lethal Company you have multiple days to try to get up to the goal. This one you only have one. You have to get the whole goal in one go. It doesn't carry over to additional days or anything like that, like Lethal Company would. But there's ways of alleviating that because you have 3 chances. You can buy more chances later on. Things like that. You still get that money back to buy a better equipment. Like, you can take that money, buy a better camera that has a higher zoom or has better quality, so that'll directly increase the amount of value you can get right there. I thought that was a really good choice to make it, to allow people to keep playing it. Yeah, and that's pretty much like what you gotta do in this, and it's this repeat ad nauseum, and hilarity ensues.
Yes.
So like,
I was flabbergasted at just the ridiculous and the enjoyable ridiculousness of this game. And I played a bit of it, but I got a lot of kicks out of watching, some videos of people playing it on YouTube. But what was so great, it was like their first time.
Yeah.
And they're having moments of what is going on, and then kind of realizing that it has this weird kind of air and tempo to it, but it is very much like silly and graphic.
Yeah.
It is very unique unto itself as far as the type of tone that it sets. And games like this, I mean, I'm one of those people. It's like, if I'm having a good time, I'm having a good time. And this almost feels like what would be an outlier because it's like it doesn't feel as mainstream, and probably so it being more of an independent title.
Yeah.
But having said that, it's like this is just a treat because it throws so much out at you. And part of what you kind of realize is, like you said, where you have that, oh yeah, if I die, well, okay. But if I complete this or if I do this, that's kind of the thing. And it has a very unique look by way of the graphics, especially when you compare the look to the actual content between, getting murdered by aliens and pictures of all these kinds as you're trying to take pictures. And at no point is it like, your life matters, run away. It's like, Nope.
Yeah. It's almost like, imagine if Pixar did Alien. It's almost like
That's a
what,
good. That
like the dynamic of like the visuals versus the actual like what's going on. Oh,
it,
it,
it really. I think that's part of the engagement. Like, there are some games where the tone, the content and the tone seem to counter each other when they actually mesh,
yeah,
bringing those kind of visuals together. And Doki Doki might be one of those games that kind of comes to mind.
yeah,
But I do love that type of kind of almost that caution to the wind. Like you make it about this, but it's not looking like Gears of War. It's looking more like freaking, like Farmville. Like you have this
yeah,
animation that completely seems to go against what it should be, but it fits perfectly.
yeah,
And there's a lot of that here because when I first saw like just visuals and like pictures, I was like, "This is a phone game," because that was the first thing that kind of came to my mind. Where it's like, okay, it's a cute little phone game, and then I put it on, and I was like, "Oh man, okay,
yeah. I mean, seeing
legs, not
the
akimbo."
yeah, like seeing the different kinds of aliens and because some of them are distressing, we'll say. They're just they look like aliens and monsters and everything. And like there's a necromancer. Like recently they added a monster that's called the necromancer that basically resurrects or it like raises up baby skeletons to chase you around. And they're not clean skeletons, not at all. They're pretty gross.
No,
And then it's like,
some
and
of
then
these people
also,
are young the game. They need their meds up. I get it.
and then yeah,
I
like
do.
and like yeah, just having like you can have like NPCs or even your own other journalists like dismembered.
Yep.
Yeah, it can get pretty up there.
Yeah. Pretty. Yeah. Some of the stuff's pretty bananas. It almost makes me think like especially growing up and even now, like reading Stephen King, I always have that kind of like, well, if this guy comes up with this messed up stuff, like, what does his nightmares look like? It's
Jeez.
like a pony, oh, everything's happy. it's
Oh,
the stuff that's out there is what kind of anchors them. And games
yeah,
like this, and like you said, like they don't spare details when it comes to like gore.
yeah,
They're not. They're not. Even with that type of animation, they're not. They're not picking it apart where it's like just a little. It's like nope,
nope. You're seeing people
laugh it off.
blown up,
Yep,
cartoony, but still, you're seeing people blown up and like ripped apart and everything. So, but overall, I'll I would say that if you're the kind of person who enjoys Lethal Company, oh, you'd probably really enjoy this. Like after seeing some of the changes that they've made and everything, like really getting into the a little bit more of the nitty gritty of the gameplay and everything like that. I really want to get this, and I mean, it's $7.99 on Steam, so it's not that bad of a price
not a
either.
bad
So,
deal.
but yeah, that'd be it. I think this is a really good option for co-op horror games. It's because it does have that levity. Like especially like there are some games where it doesn't matter how many people you have involved with it, it's still going to be just scary. This one, it has the game itself is scary, but the ability to be silly with your friends is still present
Right.
in it.
Boy,
Oh,
yeah.
and it's like it does have that element of like, okay, if your character dies, as long as you get your camera, you still got the points for it. You'll be back at half health. You can keep on going that way. Whereas like there's a lot of other games where it's like if someone gets killed, they're just gone. That's just it. Oh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I remembered this one a while back and wanted to talk about it, and I think it's a good choice. Like I said,
It's a good time,
especially if you like games like Lethal Company. Oh,
especially if you want to be surprised. I
yeah,
mean, even with us talking, like if you want something that's kind of fun, light-hearted in certain aspects, but just
some
breezy, but also like gives you kind of a jolt where you're like, people are making this. And like you said, the price point is fantastic because you could waste more money on other games. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I
Ah,
think this is
I gotta keep.
actually, I think this is a good segue into some of the things that we wanted to talk about for our water
Oh,
cooler
yeah.
talk.
Yes, lighter topics.
You get that thing I sent you?
Right. Right where I left it.
Yep. So the article I have listed on here, at least, is concerning. So recently, one of the big gaming news stories is that EA is going private. It's been public for decades and everything, beholden to the those shareholders and everything. It is now a private company. The buyout has gone through, and it is like two of the biggest buyers of the company are was it Saudi Arabian company called Public Investment Fund, and one of the other people is Jared Kushner.
Huh.
Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack with this whole thing. Because there's like the immediate, like, what does it mean for the company itself? What does it mean for the the gamers? What does it mean for, the future of the company and everything like that? There's a lot to unpack.
Oh yeah.
Because like, I think I would be inclined to think that like some of the most immediate stuff about this, because it's a leveraged buyout. I still don't entirely know what that means, but it's different from a traditional buyout. It also involves EA having to pay back $20 billion in debt. The publisher, EA, was bought for $55 billion, and they have $20 billion of debt. So I think a couple of the immediate things that are going to happen are there's going to be a crap ton of layoffs soon to try to make up that money. This article is kind of disputing against that because they do have a lot of franchises that do make a lot of money, but unfortunately, it probably means we're going to see a lot of kind of risk adverse live service games from them for the near future, for the foreseeable future. So it's going to be a lot of like sports games.
Star Wars is gonna have the title, and then you're like, oh, here we are again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of that, unfortunately, on the horizon, and it sucks because Outlaws was fine, Squadrons was great, but they couldn't make that one. I love Squadrons. Squadrons was one of those that, and they've had flying games before and stuff like that, but to really get, well, one, you could play both sides, but two, to really get in. I mean, when they sat down and they drew it up, they probably, like, the first thing was like, how much do we really get in these things when we show them in other games? And that's what was so great about it. Like, it really took a lot of those principles and finally applied it to a Star Wars game. They couldn't make that thing float worth a damn. Like, in no time flat, it was cut in half price wise.
Yeah.
And you also have to think about one thing that they do have as a very lather, rinse, repeat is they have a lot of sports titles, predominantly John Madden.
Yeah.
So, like you said, they say there's not going to be a lot of layoffs. I see a lot of people, and you know what? Just before the holidays too, because isn't that like a corporation? That's how these guys roll.
Yeah.
It is, unfortunately, like it is. Makes my stomach churn a little bit because, as per usual, it's always the person in the middle holding the bag.
Yeah.
And usually that bag is not filled with anything enjoyable.
Yeah.
But they're going to have a lot of leather, rinse, repeat titles. I don't see a lot of innovation coming. They might scrape up or dig up a couple of titles to try to revamp them and try to make money on them again and go, hey, look, we're putting a stamp on this. And it's like, sure, If
Yeah.
you've been playing video games long enough, or at least been interested in the gaming industry, especially how it functions now, there's a lot of that. Like, sure, sure. And wait, you were the guys who made this POS game, right? And how much was your bonus? As half of
Yeah.
us were like, why did we pay $80 for this? Yeah, it's
And
an old. It's a said before. It's an unfortunately old record.
yeah.
And 20 billion, like they have a lot of popular games, but $20 billion in debt. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a
look,
lot still.
I think about as much as a used postage stamp, and even I know $20 billion in debt feels like a lot.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be making up a lot. Like according to this article, EA generates approximately $7.5 billion annually from franchises like Apex Legends, Battlefield, and FIFA. Oh,
I guess the
so
Battlefield, yeah.
if that the like we were discussing it a little bit during the pre-show and tried to save it for because it is a discussion of this. Like the title on or the headline of the article is the industry isn't dying; it's splitting to two different models. And those models are you have these big budget companies and you have indies, basically. You have these smaller companies and they have it's getting to the point where it's like the advantages of having these big, ginormous companies, they're not worth it anymore. They're not worth the cost. Because like they're like for every 300 successful indie games, you have like 2 successful AAA games.
Yes.
And it's like the problem is like these big companies, they just by virtue of the fact that they're trying to appease their owners or their shareholders or whatever, they have to try to do things safe.
Yes.
And the problem is a lot of times now, safe is not successful. Just like I know someone in the Frog Pants community, or I don't know him personally, but I know of him, who he showed a picture of, I think it was like the last, he showed a picture on Discord of a stack of different Battlefield titles. think I think Theo froze. So I hope, okay, no, your video froze for a second there.
Okay.
But yeah, he showed a stack of all the different like Battlefield titles, all the cases for him and everything. And I just asked him, it's like, why do you have 26 copies of the same game? That was my response because it's like,
Right.
they're not innovating. It's like they might change 1 or 2 elements of the game, but it's otherwise the same game. And it's like it's very safe. And the thing that sucks is it's still so successful, and that's why they'll keep doing it.
Yep.
It's like that's why
Just it hit the feeder bar. And you make a good point when you talk about the ideal of safe. And this is where corporations do what they do best. Because it's like, sooner or later, before something became popular, it was considered risky to where somewhere in between the means had to justify the ends. Like, okay, you can make this, but you have to make it for X amount of dollars. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, perfect example. Everybody was like, no, nobody's gonna want this. If you make it for the change in your pockets, you can go make it. Well, they did, and in doing so, I mean, yeah, Freddy Krueger. Who's heard of him? Kind of everybody. And
yeah.
it's one of those things where, as you know, okay, it worked. Now the people who were shutting it down previously they come out smelling clean. They're like, oh yeah, I greenlighted it. Oh yeah, but you cut the budget considerably, but I still greenlighted it. So they pat themselves on the back, give themselves a bonus, and then in turn, once again, kind of with the Battlefields and Call of Duties, and they can put Squid Game and Jay and Silent Bob skins on whoever they want in Call of Duty. Guess what? Still Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Emphasis on duty, if you catch my drift. But if they just regurgitate, people will come back to it. The first Nightmare for me holds a special place. I think it is a brilliant ideal. But look how many movies they've made since, and you've got maybe 3 good ones out of the batch.
Yeah.
And the rest are been there, done that. And we as consumers, we know it. And the worst part about it is we line up for it. Oh, they made another one. Oh, it's gonna be the same crap as last time. And you're in front of the movie or your phone and you're in front of the movie thing. 2, please.
Yeah.
And we get kind of sucked in. They know when they've got us. And with games, it's even worse because I mean, Call of Duty, there's one out, every other year now. It's like the iPhone of games. And that
Yeah.
is not a compliment.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, that's the thing is like the argument that this article is making, and like with the industry splitting the two, I think that has some merit because you have these big companies that are trying to make these big blockbusters and everything like that. But then you have these creative indie studios, and I think we're starting to realize as gamers that the indie studios are knocking it out of the park because they have the ability to come up with innovation. They're able to innovate. They have the capacity to innovate because they don't have these monstrous sales goals to try to reach.
Yep.
It's like,
And then have people breathing down their neck, going like,
it's like Square Enix.
Place and you're still working on this thing.
Yeah. It's like Square Enix. It's like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like sold I don't know how many copies. I loved that game. It's one of the few games that I actually want to go back and replay. I mean, it's so good. And Square Enix is saying it's like, oh yeah, it was like a commercial failure because it didn't meet this completely outrageous goal because they didn't. Hey, if you want some help with these things, try releasing it on PC day one instead of holding it for a year. Go figure.
Oh my God, plot twist.
But anyways, but like now we're in this age where like the last 3 and probably this year as well, Game of the Year award winners are all independents, are all indie studios. You had Larian with Baldur's Gate 3, independent studio. You had Balatro, which was literally a single developer, although it wasn't Game of the Year, but that was still, it won in its categories. This year, more than likely, the Game of the Year is going to be Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I do not see any way that is not Game of the Year.
Nobody's touching that.
Yeah. And independent studio. Game cost what, $30-$40 on Steam or something like that? Not a full price game. Independent studio. Just embarrassing everyone else by how well it's done. And it's a studio that is able to innovate.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah.
Well, the nice thing with innovation, and it goes with many industries, and movies come to mind where it's like, the less money you got, the more creative you get to be. It's not a comfortable situation in some cases. And technology now is far beyond what it used to be. So even when it comes to gaming, if you're independent, you don't have people breathing down your neck. You can innovate. You may have to think things through, but isn't that the beauty of it? Where, okay, I'm going to do this. Well, a normal company would spend this much. I don't have this much, but don't tell me I can't do it because I can. I just have to figure out how. For me, it's kind of like the difference between cooking a meal and getting a TV dinner. Do you want it? Do you want it well, or do you just want it?
Yeah.
And I think gaming, especially, and we talked about it a little bit before the show, where when it was pandemic time and people were locked down, gaming helped people through so much comfort, and they played to that. They knew that was their bread and butter. Where they could truly keep keep people entertained, keep people in a decent headspace, and roll that goodwill, not right then and there. They had to be a little patient, but roll that goodwill into like, okay, we got you. Now we're going to do this. And it was great. Like a lot of companies did that because it was a sign of, excuse me, sign of the times. But now they are really at the point where it's like the big companies are like, well, we can do no wrong. Like they have to side with us. We're the big guys. And it's like, yeah, but don't you realize that your competition is outdoing anything you do 3 or 5 to 1 on probably a budget that is a fraction of what you're throwing at your marketing. I'm
Yeah.
not even talking about the development of
The
the
game
game.
itself, yeah.
I'm talking about all the goofy skins you put on weapons and people, and then all these product tie-ins. Like with Fortnite, they just had K-pop Demon Hunters and Superman. I love seeing that stuff, but it's like you didn't change the game. You did what it looks like you did. You changed the game, but
Yeah.
you didn't change what was in front of you. You didn't really innovate to anything. But that's what's beauty about the indie side of things. That's what makes those companies who are scrappier and have to really delve into that. You know what I mean? Especially when you're independent, like you better love what you're, because it may not necessarily be as comfortable as other guys. But what's so
Yeah.
great, especially in gaming, is they take the time. When they put it out, it is here. It's not Cyberpunk 2077 where it's like, we got a good start, give it 5 years, and then this will be aces, which it is.
Yeah.
But when they push it through, when it's like, here you go, we've given ourselves and then some to this. I think a lot of game developers, that's how they do it now. And they kind of have to, because the other guys, the big companies, they're not, a lot of what they do is like a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, this looks great. It's like, it's still a Pinto. I don't care how shiny it is now.
Yeah.
So,
And another thing to mention about this, I was thinking about, is in a lot of ways, a company going private would be considered a good thing. Oh, but the fact that it's being bought by Saudi Arabian company, which they already had shares in it to begin with, but now they're owners of it, and Jared
yep.
Kushner, who, for people who don't know, is the son-in-law of one Orange Squat Goblin. So, like, companies like this article goes specifically speaks about BioWare, which goes as far as saying BioWare is in a precarious position. Where is it? Where did I have it in here? It might have been a different article, but BioWare is very much like their games have inclusivity, as you know.
Yes.
Like even Mass Effect, you could have same-sex relationships. You could have they have
Mass Effect.
yeah.
Such a good game.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
Today's its 20th anniversary.
dang, I'm old.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and
like
it holds up better than that Suicide Squad EOS they put out.
oh yeah, and, man, I want to replay it again. But yeah, like that, and like Veilguard, Dragon Age Veilguard had a trans character, had they have these inclusive elements to their games, and now they're owned by Jared Kushner.
Yeah.
I have a feeling like BioWare is either going to get spun out or just completely shuttered. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Because
especially bringing a Saudi company into it too, it's like, yeah, that's insult to injury on the front.
Yeah. So none of this seems good for EA. No. Like who cares about EA?
It saves the name, and I hate to say it. I think this is a trend to come. I don't think this is an isolated bit. because I think gaming companies are going to start looking at their balance sheets. We talked about how
Yeah.
there was that big buy-in, especially during the pandemic. Well, now, like, to market and put out, I mean, that Suicide Squad game, that was just wrong.
Yeah.
Just wrong. Even if you're not religious, you just look up and go, why? um, but that particular instance, like, that was a $300 million game
Yeah.
with tens of millions in marketing. And it's like, these days, I mean, like today, who's ever playing it is probably playing it on a dare.
Yeah. It's like, it kind of reminds me, like, we're with this, so I think we'll end after this, but it kind of reminds me of people will post like side by sides of computer generated effects from like 20 years ago. Like, you'll see, like, they'll show like the first or like the second or third Pirates movie, and you'll see like Davy Jones and everything, like how detailed everything is on him, and then they'll show something from like a more modern Marvel movie, and it just looks terrible in comparison.
Mhm.
And it's like, why does it look so much worse now than it did back then? It's not a factor of talent. It's not a factor of money. It's a factor of time.
Mhm.
When you tell someone to do 6 years worth of work in 12 months, it doesn't matter how much you pay them. It's going to look like garbage.
Yes. And those
And it's
people are
like-
going to hate their lives and their
Yeah.
career choices.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, when you're just cranking out the just copy pasta games of like every other year, it's
Yep.
you're going to be reusing a bunch of stuff that you have already done, and you're not going to be adding anything that looks better. It's like, whereas these independent studios who can afford to spend the time on the game, because they're not going to have these insane, it might have a decent budget behind it, but it's not going to have these insane sales goals. It's like, okay, as long as we sell 1,000 copies of this, we're good.
Yeah.
Whereas these giant corporations are just like, we need to sell approximately 65 trillion copies of this game to break even and
Yes.
pay for my new yacht.
Yeah.
It's just unattainable.
Because the anchor is too rusty.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, to get a little bit more broad. You want to fix, you want to fix the whole wage issue with like, I've seen articles in the past, like recently, about, there was a proposal for McDonald's workers or whatever to get like $20 an hour, and how it's like backfiring and everything like that. It's like, no, it has nothing to do with their wages. It has everything to do with the CEO's wages. It's like,
yes.
you want to fix this whole thing and make it so that you can pay your workers well without having to jack up prices. Try taking out a little bit of money from those people up top who are making millions or billions of dollars off the backs of middle-class workers.
Yes. Well, remember, quick, these are the same people who build into their contracts when they jack up and shit the company down the tubes. There's still money in their contract for their golden showers parachute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Money's
I hate money.
Fun.
Anyways,
Yeah, me too.
on that note, we should probably stop before we get into a start up another podcast about this.
I was going to say, part-time shamers, here we go.
Yeah. We're not quite to that point yet, but we're maybe we'll talk. But anyways, everyone, thank you for watching or listening, whichever it may be. We're going to continue on to this theme of co-op horror games next week. We're going to be talking about content warning, which has some similar elements to this as well, except it's basically like horror podcaster, or not, horror YouTuber, the game. So we'll go with that next week. Everyone, thank you for listening. What's that?
I said content warning. I think that actual words was in my wedding vows.
Maybe, yeah. That
tracks.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you like what you've heard and you'd like to help us out, a few ways you can do that are by giving us a review over on Apple Podcast. You can follow my Twitch and YouTube channels for our live recordings Sunday nights starting at 9:15 Eastern Time. Or you can leave us a tip over on Ko-fi. Yeah, that is right. We have actually shut down our Patreon account and we're switching to Ko-fi. Seems to have more options that I like more than Patreon. So we're switching over there. If you'd like to contact us, you can with our email, parttimegamers.cast@gmail.com, or you can join our Discord channel. Discord channel is probably better because that's more direct for most of us. And you can find the show and the links to everything around it using the link bit.ly/CI Productions. That'll give you links to everything I've just mentioned. So you can find Ember's work over at 9of12.com, NINEOF12.com. Theo, where can people find you around the internet? Preferably that's safe for work.
So Rabbit in Red is on kind of a hiatus, it seems. So right now, you can only really find me here. I'm looking at doing a new podcast again, but I haven't got that far yet because my life has finally gotten somewhat simplified after about 3 months of like me waking up going, oh, I woke up.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if I had to. Yeah, summer was bonkers, but
Yeah.
we are getting into scary movie season. So win.
Yeah.
But yeah, more to follow on me. Like I said, a lot kind of changed over the past maybe 3 or so months. So now getting back to some kind of normalcy. I mean, normal for me.
Yeah, I was going to say as normal as you can get specifically.
That's a stretch.
Yeah. Normal's boring.
Normal's a word.
Yeah. All right, but everyone, until next time, we are the Part-Time Gamers clocking out.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.